Can you share what have been some of those surprising insights for you that have been learning moments for you?
Just in general or Gen Z related or
Yeah, so when talking to or working with, interacting with people from Gen Z, what has been those?
absolutely. There's several which when I'm asked to speak to audiences, I always highlight some of the following. First is a great quote, and I wish I came up with it, but I didn't. But the former CMO of MTV said they're the first generation that learned to swipe before they wiped. They've had technology in their hands since the age of 1, 2, or 3. They adopt to technology. They welcome technology. They welcome ways to improve efficiencies using technology, whether that's with their own content creation company, their startup, or even if it's where they're working now as a full-time employee. Tech savvy, digital natives is of course one. Number two, they are the most inclusive generation, the most diverse generation. They're looking for that in organizations they join, whether that's a club on a campus, whether that's the employer where they ultimately go work. They want to go to where they're working at. That really prioritizes diversity of thought, diversity of background, diversity of ideas, diversity of experiences. They prioritize diverse inclusion. And as part of that, I call it the B word. They want to belong. They really want to belong. So again, if we're looking at it from Gen Zers going on to work, well, they don't want to just be a cog in the machine at a company. They want to feel like they belong at that company, like they're delivering value at that company. So that's another kind of pillar, what I'll call it. A third one would be, I call them the purpose generation. They are looking to support brands as customers and even advocates who have a higher purpose. So Patagonia is a brand that they will tell you is a purpose-driven brand, and it's usually the number one brand they'll talk about and a brand they admire because of that. But they also want to go to work for companies that prioritize purpose. So it's not just the sole focus of the company isn't just to generate a profit and revenue, but it's to also have a higher purpose, to contribute to a better world, to a better society, to a better community. So that's really important to them as well. A fourth pillar would be that they are mental health is a top priority and a top goal setting area. And I believe that they are contributing right now to making mental health less of a taboo topic and more of a topic that's being discussed, not just in culture, but also on the employee side in the workplace. We see more and more companies in the past year or two now offering things like mental health days. They weren't offering that before 2020. We see companies now closing for World Mental Health Day in the fall. They weren't doing that 2, 3, 4 years ago. So I think Gen Z is a contributor to that. I also think there are celebrities in pop culture and sports that are also contributing. But for Gen Z, it's a very important focus area, and they are opening that dialogue and that discussion. And then I'll throw one more out there. They've got an interesting, and I call it unprecedented entrepreneurial mindset and spirit that I don't think we've seen before. But again, part of that is because they've got technology that didn't exist 15, 20, 25 years ago. And they're using that to take that entrepreneurial spirit and mindset and bring it to life in the form of, again, a nonprofit, a startup, whatever it might be. So those are just some of what I call my pillars when I discuss Gen Z and introduce Gen Z to, again, at a conference or a corporation.